Okay, student. My name is William. Now, before I can talk about the Day of the Dead, as I'll be talking about later, yeah, I want to talk about what Mexico is called in other languages. Okay, so Mexico in Spanish, I learned from school that Mexico in Spanish is called Mexico. Okay, that's how I say Mexico in Spanish. It's Mexico. Now, what about French? How do I say Mexico in French? Well, I think I already know about this stated. Go down. Oh, here it is. So, here's Mexico in French. Give me, I know. It sounds different, but you might get it right, so. So,
Mexique.
okay, Mexique. So I'll say Mexico in French. Now, what about Mandarin? Well, let's see. Okay, Mochiga. So I'll say Mexico in Mandarin. Let me I think you probably can't see the Chinese characters, so for the Mandarin word of Mexico, yeah, Mochiga. So okay, so here it is. Okay, so here it is right here. As you can see, is that bold simplified. Let me make this bigger so you can see it better. The word Mexico in Mandarin. So here's the word Mochiga. I'm probably not saying the right tone, but anyway, and here's the Chinese characters right here. The word Mochiga, which is Mexico in Mandarin. Okay. So that's it, okay? So that's Mochiga, Mexico in Mandarin. Now, what about Arabic? Well, okay, so Mexico starts with an A in Arabic.
المكسيك.
El Mexique. It's how to say Mexico in Arabic. Now, what about Mexico in Japanese? I'm talking about the country of Mexico anyway.
Mexico.
Okay, Mokishiko is how to say Mexico in Japanese. And you probably can't see the kanji, and the hiragana kanji characters. Well, let me show you about that. You can see it, okay? Here it is, right here. So here they are. The word Mochica, which is Mexico, and okay, Mochico, okay, Mokishiko, which is yeah, Mexico in Japanese. So just showing you anyway. Now now what about Korean? Well, I'll read that now.
멕시코.
Okay, Moxico. And so I'll say Mexico in Korean. And here's the Korean characters right here, if you want to see it, okay? Okay, so now we know what Mexico is called other languages. I'll talk about the Day of the Dead soon, okay? I have to go right now, so I'll be right back, guys. Okay. Hello, my name is William. Okay, today, well, let me thinking is why I'm showing you this. Well, because you're gonna see me. Well, because I think you're gonna learn. Well, what's it? This is. You know. Well, I already made it feel what the Bible says about Halloween. So today, I guess I gotta talk about the Mexican holiday. That's always so cool. That's also celebrated well the day where when people celebrate when people hear it's also dated since when Americans celebrate Halloween. Yeah, I think I talk about the Mexican holiday. Yeah, today is called What does the Bible say about the Day of the Dead? Okay, because I didn't make that one yet. I only made one about Halloween. So what is the Day of the Dead? You might be asking. Well, it's a celebration of death, really. You know, they try to say bringing back their loved ones and stuff, but I think mostly it's a celebration of death. Mostly, it's a celebration of necromancy. Is what it really is. Communicating with the dead and worshiping the dead. That's not good at all. But first of all, and why I'm calling the Day of the Dead for? Well, first of all, well, and is it called that? Well, first of all, I call the Day of the Dead because I speak English. First of all, you might have to know that anyway, since that's my native language anyway. But what about Mexicans? Yeah, of course they speak Spanish, right? So yeah, they call it. So instead of calling it the Day of the Dead, they call it Dia de los Muertos. Okay, because they speak Spanish. So right now, what about other languages? Well, okay, we're going to get to that right now. But first, I guess I got to go ahead and change the subject about something else first before we can go back to what the Day of the Dead is. Because before we can get to what Day of the Dead is called, in other languages, I have to talk about. Well, I'm going to talk about the language of Mandarin and also communism because first of all, does this Day of the Dead have anything? First of all, does this thing have to do with? Does worshiping the dead have to do with communism? Well, a little bit, yes. It's just not good at all, and we have to learn about that too. But I had one guy telling me about the language of Mandarin, anyway. But they think but he thinks Mandarin is a communist language, and I just try to tell him first. But first of all, he is wrong about that anyway. First of all, China became communist in 1949, and that wasn't that long ago anyway. But and plus the language of Mandarin, I think what standard Mandarin came out was developed. Well, it got developed way before that. I think probably in the 1700s to 1800s. I think. And I think before that before that I think it was Middle Mandarin, and I think even before that was I think Old Mandarin or Ancient Mandarin. I think that's what I heard. Yeah. And stuff. So, yeah, that guy's wrong. He's just stupid, okay? And plus, and what about Taiwan and Singapore? Taiwan, their official language is Mandarin, and they're not communist. And about Singapore, one of their official languages is Mandarin, and they're not communist. You know, and Mandarin is also spoken in I think South America, Europe, Africa, and because I know and stuff, and Europe, and also because China's trying to communize the world and stuff. But it's also spoken in Australia and also in my home country, the United States of America. So no, I believe you. So no, okay, I think they're wrong. Okay, just because China is communist does not make the language communist. Okay, go away with that, please. Okay, that has to go away. Okay, I don't know why you think about that. First of all, okay, I love the Chinese culture. Okay, and to me, I believe Chinese. And plus, I was watching Chinese 101, and I loved it. And plus, it was showing me Chinese foods I haven't even tried yet. So, and there's a lot of Mexican foods I haven't tried yet either, but I'm about to try those too. So, and stuff. So I believe. So yeah. So yeah, that guy is wrong. Okay. Here's why. Here's me reason why on this. Well, I want to learn Spanish because I want to talk to Spanish speakers, and I know I want to get them. I want to get into the gospel of Jesus Christ. Okay. And I do love the Mexican culture. That is true. But yeah. Now for Mandarin, well, I want to talk to Chinese people and give them the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I love the Chinese culture, and to me, East Asians, mostly, Asian women look beautiful. Including Chinese women, they look beautiful. So that's why I have yellow fever. So anyway, but I have to get that out of the way. So I hope this. So my answer is no. Okay, just because China is communist it doesn't make the language communist. Okay, go away with that crap, please. Okay, because you're just making me mad, and because you're just going to do is make me mad and stuff, and that has to go away. Okay, now we can find out what Dia the Dead is called in French, and then we can get to Mandarin.
Le jour des morts.
Okay, les jours des morts. Okay, it's how to say the Day of the Dead in French. Now, what about? Now we can get into Mandarin. Now, before we can get to it, we know that Halloween is Wang Shangjie. But look, we have to look at something first. You probably can't see this. Let me show you. Because you think these words sound similar, but well, they do sound a little similar. But look, guys. Can you see that this has a different tone than this? That's how you can tell. I know on Mandarin it's pretty easy to get the tones mixed up. I know, it's pretty easy, that's why. So to me, I know. Now, guys, I'm probably going to say in the wrong tone, but that's because I have to work on my tones, that's why, until I get them right anyway. So I don't think it, so to me, so guys, I have to tell you, I'm probably going to say this in the wrong tones, but I'm probably going to do it until, but I'm going to keep doing it probably because I haven't said this yet, because I haven't said it correctly yet, okay? So, just giving you a hint right now, anyway. But these are in different tones, as you know, anyway. So here's the Day of the Dead. Okay, so Wang Ling Jie. It's how to say the Day of the Dead in Mandarin. I'm probably not saying the right tone, but I'm trying to say it the best I can. Now here it is, Yo Multa. Okay, that's the Day of the Dead in Arabic. Okay, Shono Jiki. As I would say the Day of the Dead in Japanese. Okay, Shugam Yunai. As I'll say the Day of the Dead in Korean. But now, okay, that's it. So, so I showed you what the Day of the Dead are called in other languages besides Spanish. Besides English and Spanish. Okay? So that's normal what the Day of the Dead is about. And why I believe that Christians shouldn't celebrate this holiday at all. You know, I know, because I already learned about. Okay, first of all, so I made a video why Christians shouldn't celebrate Halloween, right? Because Halloween is about death. Well, the Mexican holiday called Day of the Dead is also another celebration of death, and I believe Christians shouldn't support this either. Okay. I'm going to read about an article right here, okay? So, here it is, okay? So, El Dia Los Muertos, translated as the Day of the Dead, is a Mexican holiday, also celebrated in many U.S. communities. Yeah, I know, including the state I live in, which is in California. It has roots in the Catholic observance of All Saints and All Souls Day and the Mexican beliefs about the dead. According to the ancient religion of Mexico, the Day of the Dead traditions help the spirits of the dead return of their families and happy see the difficulties of instead of living. Okay, Christians have a veneration of always the dead and of his skull-shaped circuit candies, marigolds, and seeds, and food. This is a tissue paper consults activity and those skull decorations everywhere. So skull decorations. While they're worshiping the dead, that's what they're doing, really. The Day of the Dead is mostly a celebration of necromancy. That's what it is. Okay? And I don't want to have to do anything with necromancy. Necromancy is not good. Okay? I know, because this holiday is a celebration in, Mexico. But it's also a celebration in the state that I live in as well, which is California. You know. Okay, now CT asks Christians have been ministry places about the Day of the Dead celebrated. Can Christians participate in good conscience? It's also how. Silly science. Okay. Mexico City, Mexico. Christians should participate at all, given the nature of the holiday. Every October before the Day of the Dead, my parents receive a note from my Mexico City saying, if your no daughter does not bring her part of the classroom offering, and she will flunk civic class. My letters say I'm sorry, but the struggle Christians we cannot be part of the celebration, and even if it say we should not pass the course, even if they asked the teacher that they were any way to help make up for non-participating 7 years, I flunked the course 7 years. I was allowed to present another project, and my peers, but I would not put any particular actions like class that did alter the dead. My children had some experiences when they were at Mexico City schools. Some people see the Day of the Dead as simply a Mexican cultural art and a family feature of the culture decorative and Germanic, even somewhat Germanic. However, the strategical side of the holiday is somewhat even somewhat Germanic. However, there are geographical sides to the holiday, and has steadily increased and become more obvious and understanding. Like the other festivals in Mexico, I believe the Day of the Dead is about honoring death, and not just the dead, but taking part of the consciously to practices God permits people engage. Roman Chapter 18, verses 10 to 14. I asked other Mexican evangelical leaders to witness, but they are very considerate on the issue. I found that Christians in Mexico would have activity of participating in this tradition, which our culture, like Prophet Daniel, pushes the cornermost of our worship of the one true God. So why I believe that the Day of the Dead is a tradition of necromancy. Do I love the Mexican culture? Well, and the sombreros and Mexican food and Mexican music. Well, I do love those, but the Day of the Dead is something I don't love. Okay, it is something I loathe and hate. Okay, I don't like this holiday because it's a celebration of death. Okay, and stuff. To me, I'd rather celebrate life than death. Anyway, let's keep reading. Okay, the Day of the Dead is not synonymous with Halloween, but it does surely follow All Hallows Eve, and such as refers to Day of the Dead, because the celebration is October 1st, which allows Hallows Eve through November 2nd and November 1st as Dia de los Innocents, the Day of the Children, or All Saints Day, November 2nd, El Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, or A Souls Day. What is the Day of the Dead? The celebration of the Day of the Dead, or Dia de los Muertos, differs from Halloween in the manner of gathering. Halloween is more like described in a introduction focusing on horror and thrills and candy, Well, the Day of the Dead is a members that passed away. During the Day of the Dead celebration, it is believed that boundary between the spiritual world and dissolves to allow those who lost to return to Earth temporarily for a short time of remembrance. Though these holidays are very different and they are similar in the sense of costumes, and unlike Halloween, the Day of the Dead is a social event, often spilling out into the streets and venues like a true festival, and there are noisemakers brought flowers or like costumes and largely featuring skeletons. El Dia de los Muertos is a Mexican national holiday, partly a celebration of Central and South regions. It's celebrated to Mexico, and through the celebration are countries like Guatemala, Brazil, and Spain, and a few other curious why Mexican traditions and art feature skeletons and skulls. This is a big influence of that. There's a family-friendly Pixar movie depicting the Association of the Dead called Coco. Yeah, I know. I know Disney and Pixar are trying to please everybody anyway. Well, if you want me to talk about Disney, you can let me know in another you can let me know in another video comments below. But let's go anyway. Let's go back on talking about the Day of the Dead. So the origin of El Dia de los Muertos. According to National Geographic, the Day of the Dead originated several thousand years ago. The Nua people, in which the group of the indigenous people in Mexico and El Salvador, this group included the Aztec and Toltec people, they believed that the mourning of the dead was disrespectful, and they, as they saw death a natural part of life, they saw death as still part of communities, and memory is appeared in the Day of the Dead. Holiday explains. Dia de Muertos came from the mixture of the Aztec festival dedicated to the goddess. I'm probably going to mispronounce this. Mictecesi Hadi, with the Catholic influence. Mictecesi Hadi is the Lady of the Dead, and it says that she watches over the bones of the dead and swallows the stars during the day. The church rejected Aztecs' beliefs and turned it into All Souls Day, and making it on 2 days that fall into the Catholic calendar. Mexicans have since transformed it into a truly unique holiday that honors every year. Okay, History.com further explains a person died, and they were truly believed to travel to Tenochtitlan, the land of the dead. The deceased of soul that they get of the 9 challenges, a journey of the several years before the children reach the resting place. Mentioned Aztec families and used to be food and water, and the tools of giving ads and aid, and their loved ones in this difficult journey. This practice, this continuing version of the Day of the Dead, medieval Spain, and had a similar practice as well. This illuminating the path, and for those deceased return of their earthly homes. It is a silently remnant of Catholicism's belief in purgatory and decades before, and practice an indulgence and to love the ones in heaven to heaven faster. So 4 facts about the Day of the Dead. Altars and ofrendas and one of the main features of this holiday. These altars are built by the private homes and cemeteries. And unlike traditional children altars are the place of worship, the intent of the altars, and the place to welcome the spirits back of life, we often have frames with photos and images of bright flowers and welcome to the site of altars. Okay, calavera literally means skull, but the 18th and 19th centuries, this term was used to describe a sort of funny poems about the living, and they are indeed to be light humorous writings, and personify the dead during the festival. For example, this one reads, Nesta Maestra Marta Vomitus. Okay. Esto la Maestra Marta Vomitus and Seguro. Llegó la muerte y el dejo. De camino con el amarillo. Pues yo no puedo como y si sogo así le persona le mismo que a mí. Teacher Marta was smoking a cigarette. Death came along and told her, I will accompany you, for I no longer smoke, and if you keep this, the same thing will happen to you. Okay, Katrina refers to the rich you will many people in skeleton costumes, and make up the originating of the artist Diego Rivera in 1947. We'll call Dream and the Sunday afternoon of the Imelda Park. This really is a symbol of the holiday for those that celebrate it. Marigolds, often the celebration of intense colorless smells, although the guy the dead back. What is the Bible say about this type of celebration? Well, we read in Matthew 5 verse 4. Bless the mourn and be comforted. God is the comforter of the brokenhearted and hurting of those we love, and serve us with the comfort. By putting myself in practice this quote addition, but I personally remember this I loved and how mourning is the spirit of the dead. Like alive, two separate things. Ephesians 24 is we read, we wipe out every tear of the eye as a death, and you shall no more neither, nor crying or pain or for have any passed away. This experience of peace of God's principles. Okay, Hebrews 9:20. Verse 9, Hebrews chapter 9:27 says, just peoples are destined to die once, and after that, to face judgment. Christian principles do not support any two common spirits, but Christians have to pray, commune to the Holy Spirit, and who is the Spirit of God. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 7. So, how Christians should view other Christians who celebrate this day. Above all, Christians should understand who celebrate this holiday, and seeking to reflect remember those whom they have lost. We have Christian friends who accepted Christ as their Savior, but still celebrate this holiday. I do believe it's going to truly to connect them on what they are and truly what they're seeking out of the celebration. That is, to know that their family members, their true loved ones, and so on are at peace. The saying above, like I said, it's 12 verse 7. I can remind that superiors of deceived Christians are obeying to God, and if it's salvation of life, greeting of they can celebrate on earth, and the lasting place we can hope of referring to. Those are loved ones that still think of them, of visiting memories of them, but rest of knowing they are cared in the presence of the Lord, and their lives are deeply meaningful according to God's purpose. Okay, and well, that's something, but and that's also talking about, first of all, you don't have to talk about what worshiping death is, because this is what necromancy is. Yeah, I know. The Day of the Dead is a celebration of modern day necromancy. Okay? So it says right here, the Catholic Church doesn't condone Mexico street death phenomenon. Mexico City, deep in the heart of Mexico's toughest neighborhood, the street plagued by drugs and prostitution. Faithful Catholics are preaching the new visiting death himself. But there come the dozens of Mercy Church and favorite house of the Temple neighborhood, and some statues of the Grim Reaper, known along as devotees of Saint Death, and they as La Santa Muerte for miracles, light candles and offerings of food, liquor and cigarettes, and some bring their children who look up all to the whining skeletons in their skies. The Roman Catholic Church says that venerates of the Saint Death is growing in Mexico, and the Soviets to stop it. There are 40 shrines to death in Mexico City and about 400 nationwide of the David Romo and David Romo Gallion bishop of the Tradition Catholic Church and in Mexico, USA, which runs the Mercy Church, become the most visible perimeter of Saint Death. There are 5 pilgrims in California, Oregon, and Washington, D.C., Romo said. It has become a fad and growing very quickly. Sergio Roman, a Roman Catholic official who receives the president of Mexico City, people have taken death and crucified it, and they have made it almost like a god. Devoted to death worship, goes back to the pre-Columbian times of Mexico, and the Federation of Saints is popular Catholics worldwide. But the Roman said that Saint Death practiced witchcraft or Satanism. This is a church, it's a bishop, and this is a link. Devotees regard death as some kind of angel skills and kills people with God's orders. And they can archangels, Gabriel and Michael, and they have picked a vessel day for August 15th to sell Grim Reaper T-shirts and complete of the Saint of Death outside the Basilica of the Lady Guadalupe and Mexico's holiest shrine. The people who live here, people who have problems and death, is very real and close to them, says Arturo Garcia, who one of the Mercy Church priests. For us, Saint Death is the angel of God and messenger. The movement is unrelated to the Day of the Dead or All Souls Day, but when Mexico's other family members who have died, altars of Saint Death have propped up likely places, like unlikely places like pearl jewelry and frequency of the Mexico City and main plaza, circular construction of Cordero Lopez, resolved in the store and asked the protection. S headed to Tijuana and to cross illegally into the United States. Anissa became popular 3 years ago when Saint Death appeared in a dream during the winter trip across the California desert. And I was wet from the rain and tired, but I was cold and I couldn't stop shivering. He said to me, "Show me your hands." And it was like she pulled me up and she told me to keep walking and not to fail to begin, and she saved my life. Now, for protection, Lopez wears the Grim Reaper necklace and cloth amulet. There are Grim Reaper tattoos on his chest and back. The practice has spread the countryside as well. In the town of Pedro Escobedo, 90 miles northwest of Mexico City, the site of Highway 45, and motorists worship at the chapel and the most of the Holy Death. I started coming here because people told me about the miracles of Saint Death has worked for them, and as says Oscar Treja, or Treja, or is that Aureno or Aureno, a 26-year-old hairstylist. They say it's very powerful. Worried that by the tread, Catholic priests in Mexico City giving sermons about Rome's take on the issue and the death is phenomenon. And in their Saint or an angel, that's 1,500 Catholics at the parishes on the outdoor mass near of the Saint Death shrines. The shoulder jacket movement, Roman said. But said Romeo, the people here offers worship and the miracles with the church of people that's down here about the people. And that's why the Roman Catholic Church sees us as a threat. yeah, well, that's what it is. So you can see that the Day of the Dead is just worshiping death and stuff. So, should Christians celebrate the Day of the Dead? Well, my answer is, well, no. No, 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 no. My answer is no. Why? Because, and I'm sorry, that was a spam call. Anyway, my answer is no. Okay, Christians should not celebrate it. Okay, the Day of the Dead is mostly a celebration of necromancy, worshiping death. So to me, I don't know, people worshiping death, no, I'm going to give them a red flag. Well, the Chinese flag, just for worshiping death. And just doing necromancy, Because this is not good at all. This I know, I'm not into, because necromancy, this is not good, okay? You don't need this, okay? So this modern day necromancy holiday called the Day of the Dead is something that has to go away, but I don't think it will ever go away. Hopefully we can get back to so to me, I think we should expose this, so we can mark and avoid the Day of the Dead and expose it of what it exposes as a very wicked holiday. What Mexicans do need is the gospel of Jesus Christ, and we need to give them the gospel of Jesus Christ. You see, I know Mexicans are friendly people, and I'm happy when they're friendly. And Mexican music is great and stuff, and I love Mexican food. And also wearing sombreros looks great anyway, but but they need the gospel of Jesus Christ, and I meant the real gospel of Jesus Christ. Okay, and the Bible teaches that salvation is by grace through faith, not works. Yeah, I know. This is just I know that's the blue Chinese, and that's a blue Chinese flag anyway. This one. So here's something how to get saved. Okay, the point. So yes, the Day of the Dead has something to do with paganism, right? Yeah, the point of paganism is to damn souls to hell. When you go to heaven is to believe on Lord Jesus Christ. Salvation is by faith alone and grace alone in Jesus Christ alone. And once it is saved by easy believes in the truth. Well, I mean, then you can't lose your salvation once you say the river, and by the easy reason that salvation is easy. This is belief in Jesus Christ for salvation. Okay, and I'll talk about next video is it's called "What Does the Bible Say About Giants?" Well, I'll talk about the next video. So I guess. So yeah, I believe that Christians should mark and avoid and expose the Day of the Dead as a wicked holiday. That's what I believe anyway. Yeah, Christians should right here. Do not worship the dead. It is for that is idolatry, and God hates idolatry. Yeah, it is true. And here it is. Romans 13, chapter 13, verse 12 to 14. Galatians chapter 5, verse 19 to 21. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 18, and 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, verses 1 to 9, and also chapter 4, verses 3 to 8, and also 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 3 to 6. You know, that's what my belief is about the Day of the Dead. Okay? Anyway, and I'll talk what the Bible says about, and I'm talking about next video. It's called what does the Bible say about giants? Well, I'll talk about that next video because I gotta go right now. So thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. And bye. Okay, guys, I'm back. Because I forgot to show you something. Okay, because before I go, I'm gonna read about the persecution of Christians look like in my closest neighbor country, Mexico. Okay, I'll read that to you. Okay. So there are estimated 150 organized crimes gangs in Mexico. Financed by powerful drug cartels. Christians leaving their territories risk being targeted. Okay, Christians, leaders, and popular can be viewed as a threat or defiant to a gang's authority and stability. When Christians refuse to carry out gang's demand or speak out against crimes, their church is soon in the fire line. And the opportunity and the political stability contribute to the lack justice when several pastors and priests have been kidnapped and held ransom, badly beaten or killed. The gangs de facto authorities in the most neglected areas also give fines to extort money, and church leaders, believing that they must come across church funds. These illegal groups have diversified and strengthened their networks across the whole country. So Christian leaders, especially those carry out activities as human rights or environmental defenders, are at high risk of health, recruitment, sexual harassment, abduction, and forced displacement, as well as other forms of violence. Their relatives are also at risk. Rural areas, new Christian believers who come in ancestral, traditional backgrounds, most beliefs are related to Roman Catholic faith, can be beaten, fined, harassed, denied in public services, rejected as forced, and displaced in their communities. In general, intolerance is the security of Christians speaking out of their social issues and increasing as Mexico becomes regularly secular. Who is most vulnerable to persecution? Okay, so church leaders are the most risk of violence, of organized crimes and gangs, while certain indigenous communities persecute and exclude new believers. Meet pastors, carceres. They kidnapped me in the middle of the night, and the criminals wanted me to pray to clear the negative energy that left in the room. They had killed the several victims. Pastor Carceres. Carceres. What has changed this year? Okay, last year saw a high recompense and violence against Christians in Mexico. Criminal groups continue to target Christians wherever they are perceived to be a threat to a group's illegal operations. And these persecutors take advantage of weaknesses. The state policies allow corruption and impunity. Christians and indigenous communities increasingly face hostility due to refusal to follow ancestral and additional customs, most related to Catholic practices, elsewhere religious intolerance, and also increasing, driven by radical ideological groups that are against public expression of Christian faith. Okay, what does Open Doors to help Christians in Mexico? Open Doors strengthen to persecute believers in Mexico with biblical tithing, legal support, trauma care, and socio-economic aid. How can you pray for Mexico? Please pray for return law and order to Mexico. When crime is currently signs, pray for God's wisdom and power for Christians standing up to the criminal gangs in their areas. Pray for the safety for travel a long way, the Bible training or discipleship. A prayer for Mexico. Youth Father, protect our brothers and sisters in Mexico who live in the shadow of groups. How Christians face violence with courage and speak against corruption in the country. Meet their integrity and love and press persecutors. We pray that the authorities will be along the stability, employment, and justice back to Mexico. Amen. Okay, so now I read about Mexico. So that's what Christian persecution is in my closest country neighbor, Mexico. Yeah. It's not good. But you can read more. You can read it to yourself if you want to. And you have to go rights now. But I'll talk about giants next video. Okay? To me, I'll be happy to visit Mexico, but, sometime in the future, but, I heard that Mexicans are friendly. It's just that, yeah, I know, I don't like the persecution in Mexico, but, there's nothing you can do about that anyway, but, that's what life is. Gotta stick with it. Anyway, I know I live in the United States, in California anyway, so. Anyway, I know, I'll talk about giants next video, so I have to go right now. So thank you for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it, so bye. Okay, well I forgot to show you something. So before I go, I want to show what Mexicans look like when they celebrate their holiday called the Day of the Dead. Can you see their? Yeah, I know. You can see what they put their skeleton paintings on their faces and stuff. Which isn't good. And this one's called what it says about praying for the dead. Well, they are praying for the dead and stuff like that. Anyway, yeah, which isn't good. If you want to know, but what about Christianity is Mexico? Well, let's talk about Catholicism, but the majority of Christianity in Mexico is more like a pseudo kind of it because it's more like Catholicism and stuff. Yeah, Mexican culture. Well, that's cacti. So yeah, the majority of Mexico is Catholic. That's what I heard. Yeah, that's what I want to know. Which is mostly, a false religion. So anyway, I'm gonna talk about giants next video because I gotta go right now. So thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. So bye.